That's it! I'm done! I have the script ready! I just have to sit down and record. This is all I need to do. I want to do this. I want to get it finished. I want to get my ranting done and out of the way so I can bother more people about it! You read the title of this video, so you know what we're about to talk about. But don't hit that dislike button and share a mean comment just yet, because I want to clarify, I love Diabolik lovers. Does that sound hard to believe? I mean, what else would I be obsessed with for the past several months to like a year? I mean, there's Madoka, but that's like beside the point. I mean, who wouldn't be obsessed? Anyway, I love Diabolik lovers. For a video that's calling the anime a disappointment, you'd think I hate the franchise in its entirety, right? Sometimes. Jokes aside, I enjoy this franchise as much as the next person, but I have to talk about how bad the anime is. Well, I wouldn't say it's horrendously awful, as I've seen many say the same thing about it. No. The anime, Diabolik lovers, is a disappointment to me and a lot of other fans. But if you do like the anime and think it's a godsend, then please continue loving the anime. I just want to talk about where the anime went wrong with its pacing, directing, surface level character development, and massive jumping bits of lore. There's a lot to discuss. But to those who have lived under a rock for, I don't know how long this game has been out. It's been out for a while. Diabolik Lovers is a Japanese visual novel franchise by Rejet. Its first entry, Honda Dark Bridal, was released on October 11th, 2012 for the PlayStation Portable system and has continued success since its first release. Cat, please stop rubbing your face on my computer. The franchise has brought two 12-episodic anime television adaptations by Zex, which aired from September 16th, 2013 to December 19th, 2013, and the second season aired from September 23rd, 2015 to December 9th of 2015. And I remember when the second season aired. I watched that shit with no subtitles. I didn't understand what a word they were saying, was just liking what I saw. They also did an OVA to release with their new game at the time, Dark Fate, but I'm not counting that in this video because it has no real impact of the second season and was just promotional material for that said season to come out. Me not saying the anime in general is a promotional. We'll get to that. Reminder that this will be an overview of the first season. I plan to do the same with the second season once I played through its sequel to have a better understanding. So without further ado, let's just dig into it. I tried to do a vampire pun, but it didn't fucking work. Honda Dark Bridal and the first season of Diabolik Lovers follows it pretty okay, but it doesn't follow it to an exactly a T. For example, when Yui is surrounded by the boys she's trying to run away. That is such a tongue twister, her name! When Yui is surrounded by the boys she is trying to run away from, and she basically says if her blood is so valuable, she should be the one to decide which boy would be her protector. This gives you the choice to choose between 3 of the triplets, and once you have played through one of the routes, you unlock Shu, Reiji, and Subaru. Obviously, the anime doesn't do that, and spends 6.5 episodes dedicating to each one of them. And instead of illustrating anything important, they do what the anime was really made for. The bite scenes. The rest of the series finally focuses on its plot. The plot being that Yui Komori has the Demon Lord's daughter heart inside of her, and it makes yummy blood or something, but she wants to come back and have revenge on her ex-husband. Go, Queen, you do that. So in order to do that, she manipulates Richter, this is Carl's brother, into taking out her heart after being brutally wounded by her sons and implanting it into a suitable vessel so she can return, and eventually convinces him once she does, he'll rule beside her. Yeah. The pacing in this show is actually so bad, it gives me whiplash. I even give myself whiplash, relaying you the bare, paper-thin plot this anime has to give you. It spends 6.5 episodes of literal fan service, and then it just has a recap episode in the middle of the show. Like, why did you make me sit through all of that fan service that I may or may have not liked? For you just to give me a fucking It spends 6.5 episodes of fan service, and the rest of the show trying to show you its story and plot at a speed that it's almost hard to follow, or is hard to follow if you haven't decided to play the games, or you're not a consumer of the franchise at all. Its biggest issue is that they dedicate those 6.5 episodes to each boy, and then spend the last 6 showing the plot that hasn't been really mentioned or talked about beforehand until now. And if it has, it's been rather lackluster. How many times have I said 6.5? It really is 6.5. I'm not joking around. The conclusion the anime gives you is just horribly boring and bad. After Yui is almost possessed and Cordelia is shortly betrayed by Richter, which, if you hadn't played the game beforehand, this comes out of left field. Ayato and Richter have a non-climactic battle and Ayato gets a boo-boo, and then Yui comes back to repossess her body to only steal the knife Richter took away from her that Subaru gave to her, and stabs herself. Which is really dumb. But my stupid bias for Yui is almost blinding. And because of Reiji, who is now a plot device in this scenario, he figures out a way to save Yui from the brink of death with the help of Kanito, who has had his mother's ashes in his teddy bear all along. And Ayato and Yui kiss whenever he feeds her the antidote, and it gets all mushy-gushy and all that, and then it just...
喉が渇いた.
Which, in context, if you did play the game and you know what that means, this means for season 1, she became a vampire and that's it. But that is totally retconned in season 2, and then it just makes no fucking sense when people come into the anime and then just not know what the fuck's going on! I guess whenever the plot was moving way too fast now, they decided to just throw self-insert scenes of all the boys talking directly at you for good measure to fill up time, and it's fucking awful. The ending episode is horrendous. It especially pisses me off whenever it plays sentimental music and all the boys stare at her like, oh my god, we missed you. Like, it doesn't work in this scene because not a single boy, excluding Ayato and maybe Subaru, that is stretching it, had not had a real connection with Yui in the slightest, when in the game, it makes total sense depending on the boy you're with to care about you over something like this. Even though Yui gets possessed in Reiji's brow only, so that's weird, but whatever, plot's got a plot. All of the boys had done this whole season is to be abusive assholes, and whenever you're showed their past in episode 7, it is just fake sadness. You could be sympathetic towards them as they would want you to be, but when I first watched the show with zero prior knowledge of what this show is, I wasn't really sympathetic at all. A usual normal reaction. In the game, it wasn't too much better, but at least it had proper build up to their backstories. Do I have to talk about their characters? Do I have to talk about it? Do I have to? Remember when I said the characters were surface level in the anime? It is true, and after playing through Haunted Dark Bridal myself, I can never really look at the anime as a good source to get into the franchise just because of how disjointed it is. I won't go into too many spoilers for the first game, because there could be some who haven't played the game yet to know that regardless if it's been out for a while, so let's kill 3 birds with 1 stone. The reason why I don't have a separate category for them is because, well, the anime does a decent job at focusing on them most of the time and giving a good chunk of screen time to them. It makes sense though, since they are the boys you're supposed to choose from the first time, and since they are directly involved with Cordelia, it makes the plot with her and her heart flow a bit better. I stress a bit. But Ayato hands down got more spotlight than Laiato and Kanito since he's the poster boy and the face of the franchise. He's also given a slightly more sympathetic edge to him compared to the rest of the 6 because we see him first in the very first episode, so of course he needs to be given more attention to fulfill his narcissistic tendencies. Laiato and Kanito are there for plot too, but just a bit more fan service than anything. But they sure do like to not dive further into their characters any further than just surface level, like I mentioned in the beginning. Kanito is a lot more apparent, as in my experience playing the game. He didn't seem as bad as I thought he was going to be getting into it at first, but then I kept going, and Jesus Christ. But in the anime, they kind of just amp his creepy atmosphere to catastrophic levels of insanity to level 100. Laiato is just not explored enough within the anime to fully understand his relationship with his mother, same with Kanito. They keep the scene where he recites, this.
あなたの声
And this does happen in the game, but just way later on. But if someone were to go into this anime without previous knowledge of the game, they wouldn't know who he's talking about, and people could assume it was a previous lover of his, but the triplets got off easy. However, these three got the shit end of the stick. Well, maybe except Subaru. Subaru was only used to connect more route plots together through the knife, since the knife played an important role later. The dynamic between Yui and him was sweet-ish. With Shu and Reiji, I feel like they did try to present their backstories to the audience through them, and in episode 7, but they just kind of feel like NPC knowledge rather than actual importance. The scene where Shu watches a certain village burn down, and Reiji staring down on his mother after she's been killed is so awful because you will not be given any context for any of this unless you play the game. It's just like, oh, I killed my mom because I hate women. Oh, this village is burning, but I have PTSD because of it. Why? But now you may be wondering, what about Yui? Is she any different? Well, I'm gonna get serious for a moment. Talking about Yui Komori is hard. And it's hard because it's hard for me to condense what I'm saying in a short paragraph rather than a whole character essay, of which I will do in the future for her. I love Yui. I really do. And I know some people love her too. But not everybody in the fandom likes her. And it's because of how the anime writes her. I can't really stress enough when they kinda they royally screwed her over. In the game, while Yui was very naive at first, she was the first to show genuine kindness to the boys, even when they never ever deserved it. Sure, she has trouble standing up for herself, but I can list a few moments in the first game alone where she gets smart with the boys and it's funny. I like the moments she has with the boys before it comes all crashing down. She is an actual character, even if she's supposed to be you. And I won't describe any of these moments because I said that this would be a spoiler-free kind of zone. But if you were just interested, just please go play the game or read the translations because it is so worth it. I will admit in certain moments in the show she has tried to stand up against them or speak her mind, but it isn't nearly as impactful as it is in the game. I take her character very seriously, and I could go on and on about her, but I really can't. It would be a totally different video, so I'll put that on hold for now. Wow, I actually kind of got serious for a second there. Doritos. Did that make you laugh? Pudding? I don't know what the fuck. Let's move on, please. Not much to say here. It's not really a category. I just wanted to talk about some positives. I like the game's soundtrack, but the soundtrack of the anime is so soothing to me, like that I listen to the 32-minute version of the soundtrack whenever I sleep sometimes or when I do my homework for classes, and it's just, mwah. I mean, mwah. And the opening song and visuals are godly. They are just so pretty and catchy. I don't like feet though. Stop focusing on her feet. And oh my god, look how pretty the petals are. And oh my god, I love the stills. The boys looking all evil. And then they look at you like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, you know what you were doing. Also, this scene, favorite part of the whole thing. God, Yui's so pretty. They're all pretty. Even that bitch. Oh wait, I lost it there for a second. What was I doing? This anime is panned by any anime watcher out there, and I can see why. But the hate it gets is a bit much. And a bit cringy at times. You fuckers compare it to Twilight. And I never had a Twilight phase, but it is nowhere near that level of, what the fuck. People act like it's an abomination that should have never existed. And it's only because of the situations and mostly people shitting on Yui. It's always over Yui. I'm not kidding. But that's the thing with this anime though. It wasn't to tell a story. It was promotional material. A visual representation and incentive for the company to get you to buy the games, to experience them yourselves, and honestly, the anime was the best idea. Especially at the time of release. Vampires were incredibly hot around this time, and it's no wonder it got as popular as it did. So much so a second season was made. It was a very good marketing and business strategy, and it worked like wonders. It just didn't work very well, in my opinion. It could have been different. What they really wanted to sell you, though, was the sexy, misunderstood bad boys who were vampires in anime form. And honestly, I've come to respect that. Hi, so this is my first anime review, overview, retrospect. I don't fucking know. I just wanted to rant about DL in video form, and I can finally do that if this video comes out. Seriously, thank you for all watching my content. For those who wanted more of this kind of thing, I'm super happy my first video did well, and I'll gladly make more content similar to this. It just takes me time to find motivation, time, and energy to do it. I am a busy college student. But once again, if you like the DL anime and think it's great, that's totally 100% okay, dude. I totally get that. I just think the anime could have done better. And once I talk about season 2, they kind of did get better. At least that's what I like to believe. Please let me believe it. Please let me believe it. Anyway, if you hadn't already, hit that subscribe button. Maybe even like this video. It'll help me out a lot and really show me how much you guys want to see more of this. I plan to see you guys soon for whatever content I make next, so stay tuned and I'll see you next time. Ciao.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.